Welcome here to TalkFCB and welcome back to the channel here today, guys. And first of all, thank you for joining me. I know many of you probably woke up today not feeling good, and believe me, you are not alone. And that's the message right away here, guys. You're not alone, because it's not good right now. And that is why today we got to have the conversation. Who is to blame? Who are we looking at here after Barca's latest Champions League disaster campaign? And I think what we have to do is take some ownership, take some responsibility in this team, because it's happened again this season. And it's unacceptable. It is simply unacceptable what we've seen in Xavi today. He's going to be under the microscope. We're going to be talking about some of his key decisions. And we're also going to be talking about certain players who, in my opinion, there should simply be no hiding place. So let's do it. Because let me first of all give you Xavi's assessment of the game and the performance and indeed the result against Inter last night. He said the Champions League is being cruel to us this season. He said against Bayern we were not clinical enough. He said there were other circumstances in Milan last week, but there's no need now to talk about those refereeing decisions. And he said tonight was simply down to defensive mistakes. He said our chances now going through, they're very much remote. We haven't lost hope, but the situation is very difficult. We don't depend on ourselves, and it's down to our own errors. He said, I apologise, because it's everybody's mistake. We had put it into our heads not to fail, but we did. Xavi said, I'm disappointed, I'm sad, I'm a little angry. He said last season the feeling was that we were not good enough, but he said this time around it's been down to mistakes. Real emphasis here from Xavi about individual mistakes in that back line. He said we had the game in our hands and we let it escape, in Munich above all, but against Inter tonight too. He said last year maybe we weren't good enough, we weren't at the required level, but Xavi says this year it actually hurts even more. And I am, guys, very interested to sort of hear what you make of those words from Xavi, that reaction from him after the Champions League campaign that we've seen. Do you feel as though it is just down to mistakes? Do you feel as though Barca was sort of not far away in many games and indeed at times had it in our own hands? But can we just say, oh, well, we made mistakes, it wasn't good, but it's just mistakes, we'll put it all to one side? I don't think it's that simple right now to look at it like that, because I think if you actually fail to win your last 3 group games, losing 2 of them, you're going to be walking the tightrope. There's no getting around that. Whether we were close, whether we were right there, whether we had chances, all of this kind of stuff. If you fail to win 3 successive group stage matches in the Champions League, you're probably going to head out of it. It is as simple as that. Now, do I feel as though we have been unlucky, that we have been unfortunate, that the Champions League has been a bit unkind to us? Honestly, yeah, I do. I think injuries have been so key and really hurt us. I think decisions have not gone our way. There's been moments in games where, of course, it's been so tight, but that is football. And especially, guys, that is football at the top level. We all know that it's such a small margin here. It's very tiny details that separate the best from the rest. And especially in games, handling big moments. And we haven't done that. And I think we have to hold our hands up here and not just say, well, we made mistakes, we'll learn, everything's okay, we were close. We have to say, we ultimately fell short, and we have work to do. We're not there. We're not there yet. Because when it comes to the decisions from Xavi, one thing that I said there in the match review, and we got to follow up and talk about a little bit more today, is the treatment of Rafinha. Now, I've mentioned this several times over the past, sort of week or two. After the international break here, I still don't understand Xavi's treatment of Rafinha, especially last night, guys. The way that he was playing, the intensity that he was playing with, and also the work that he was doing defensively, it was so important in this game. And then you see it taken off after 63 minutes. Now, that is the 3rd game in a row where Rafinha has been sacrificed after an hour. And you see his reaction. And for me, I've been watching this every time that it's been happening. When he's taken off early, he goes over to the bench and he looks like a frustrated man. And to be fair, I can understand him, because I don't really understand why every single time, if there's a sub, if Ansu's going to come on, if Ferran's going to come on, if Memphis is going to come on, you just know before that board even goes up, Rafinha's coming off. He's always the man sacrificed. And what's that doing to his confidence? What's that doing here to him starting life at Barça? I don't understand that again from Xavi here. Then there's Balde. This is one that is absolutely puzzling to me because in La Liga, he's been magnificent. He has been a breath of fresh air in that left-back position. And you've got to give credit to Xavi. He's put faith in him in the league. He really trusts Balde, and you can see why. And it's all going so well on that left side. But then in the Champions League, what are we doing? What is Xavi thinking in the Champions League? He was an unused sub against Pilsen. Then against Bayern away, Alonso starts the game instead of Balde, who doesn't come on. Then Inter away, Alonso starts again. Balde comes on for 28 minutes in that game. And then last night, when you're thinking, surely he has to start this game, Alonso's there again. Balde comes on for 19 minutes. Again, he shows promising signs. He shows energy, combination down that left side. But Xavi, in the Champions League, he doesn't trust him. And what I want to know is, why? Because this is when we come on to Alonso. And I have to say this, guys, because it finally seemed this season like we were going to move on from Jordi Alba. It's been something that we've been trying to do year upon year. And like I say, in the league, Xavi has been showing real faith in Balde. He's made a big call here to bench Alba. He's been bold. He's been brave to make that call. And he's done well in doing that. But then, in the process of benching Alba, moving on from him, we sign Marcos Alonso. We bring him in and then play him in the biggest games. Why? All of the hard work here of moving on, replacing Alba, all the hard work to put him on the bench, and all we've done now is effectively replace him with someone worse. Alonso is not a better player than Jordi Alba. And that is the fact right now, guys. We were working so hard to move on, so hard to bench him. We've done that, and now Alonso in the team. And clearly, it has not been working. And this is all even before you talk about the worst thing. And this, by the way, for me, is not a Xavi problem. This is not a Xavi issue here that lies at his door, but it's a problem with the team. Because mentally, we're still not there. We fall apart in the biggest of moments. We don't handle adversity like a top team does. We don't overcome setbacks in games. We are mentally fragile, and we just see it again and again and again, especially in the group stage here against Bayern. We can talk about the promise. We can talk about the fact that we were doing well. As soon as we conceded, everything fell apart. We didn't believe in ourselves anymore. We didn't have any game plan. There was a period in the game where we simply fell on our faces. And here's the thing. Because for me, when I'm talking about mentality, when I'm talking about players collapsing and not handling the biggest moments, I am not really talking about young players. I am not talking actually about those players there who you'd feel maybe a bit inexperienced. They might actually not be quite ready. You could understand them coming under a bit of pressure on this stage. But I'm not talking about them. I'm actually talking, and we are all seeing it, the veteran players. It's the same players who we've questioned before about their mentality. We've spoken about it last season. We've spoken about it the season before. We've spoken about it the season before. And we've spoken about it the season before that. Season upon season upon season. It's the same faces, the same players who are mentally weak, who are breaking down in the big moments. And when I'm talking about the veteran guys, I'm not saying here that they're the only players who ever make mistakes in this team. I'm not saying that everything is their responsibility and it's all their fault and everything that they do. But here's the thing. When the veterans make mistakes, we know about it. We've been aware of it now for such a long time. Now, I can see that in yesterday's game, young players made mistakes too. But at least for me, there's a chance they're going to improve. There's a chance that when they get that experience, when they learn, when they grow, they're going to get better. And you can see that progression. You can accept mistakes from them. But these older guys, these older players who we've seen them make the same mistakes, they're not improving. They're not getting better. They're not changing. We know that now. We all know that. Xavi knows that. And that's the problem. Because for how long have we been talking about this? Now on Piqué, who for me was an absolute calamity in the second half. Not only the mistake that he made for the goal, he nearly scored an own goal. It looked like he couldn't run at certain parts of that second half. It was an absolute horror show from him. Now on that, I've got sympathy for Xavi. Because clearly, at the start of the season, Xavi had already decided Piqué's not good enough anymore. Piqué shouldn't really be anywhere near this team, and he was well down the pecking order. Now, if Araujo was fit, if Koundé was fit, if Christensen was fit, would Piqué have played last night? He definitely wouldn't have. So I can actually have sympathy with Xavi there in saying, okay, I don't think he would have played Piqué. Piqué is not in his plans, and quite clearly, we can see why. However, on Busquets, that for me is different, because on Busquets, I've got no sympathy at all with Xavi right now, because we widely expect it to be Sergio Busquets' last season at Barcelona. Now, he has been a wonderful player in his career with us, and my full respect goes out to him, but why are we not trying to move on? Why is there no attempt in the biggest of games to ever look forward? Why are we still relying on Busquets to be in the team? And he is, and he's never questioned. Whenever there's a big game, you know Busquets is going to start. Why couldn't Frankie have played yesterday? Why couldn't we have said, okay, we're going to put the faith in you. We are going to give you a try in this game because we believe in you. Because I know what will happen if we get to the end of the season, and Busquets, by the way, leaves Barca. We expect that to happen. Next season, we'll all be saying, well, Frankie isn't quite ready now to step into that role. He hasn't played there in the big moments. He hasn't been given opportunities regularly. Can he step into Busquets' role? Well, no, he wouldn't have been given the chance. And why not start now? Why not prepare before Busquets leaves by actually moving on already? Why is Xavi delaying that process here? Because until we put the faith in Frankie de Jong, until we give him the license to play in big games, he will always not be prepared. And it's just so frustrating right now, guys. I mean, honestly, I think there's so many different layers of frustration. Obviously, I'm annoyed at the same mistakes that we keep seeing season upon season, that it feels like this will never end. It feels like we'll never get out of our Champions League group again. But there's also a layer of frustration for me when I think about what that team would have looked like with Araujo there, with Koundé there in defence. Would they have allowed those goals yesterday? Would they have been able to be breached as easy as Inter did? They wouldn't have, and we know it could have been different. And of course we can make, excuses. We can say, well, if we hadn't have had the injuries, and obviously we can look at hypothetical situations. But the fact is, we're probably not going to be in the Champions League. We're probably, again, going to fall now into the Europa League. And all I'll say is this: we have to get ourselves together. We have to get this team together. Xavi has got to show some authority. Xavi has to really rally his players. Because on Sunday, we've got El Clasico. There is no time to be moping. There is no time here to let the heads drop. We've got to stand up. We have to be ready. We have to find it within ourselves to fight again. And I really just hope that now, more than ever before, Xavi has been given the perfect ammunition. He has been given the perfect illustration. He should know who he can trust and who he cannot. So please, guys, do leave your thoughts in the comments down below today. Leave all of those feelings down below. Like I say, you're not alone. We are all feeling the same way. We are all frustrated. We are all angry. We are all hurting right now. And that is why I want to know what you are feeling after this result, after this performance, the conclusions that you're now making, who is to blame in your opinion, and looking ahead to Sunday's crucial game at the Bernabeu. What do you make of it? Going into that one, how are we going to respond? Please let me know those thoughts. Thank you, like I say, for joining me. I really appreciate the support. Even now, it is massive, and we have to keep going. We have to stand together, as we always have here. I really appreciate that, guys. I will be seeing you soon, though, with more videos. But until next time, as always, Vishka El Barça.